What we learned today is that the Russian interference that went on in the 2016 election is actually part of a larger global strategy on the part of Russian President Vladimir Putin to undermine democratic institutions around the world. Now, this is laid out in a 200-page report released by Senator Ben Cardin, who is a Democrat in Maryland today. And this report goes into detail about how Russia has been able to use disinformation, cyber hacking, and other means of influence around the world to try to destabilize other governments, particularly in Europe, and not just the United States like they did in the 2016 election.
Putin's asymmetric assault on democracy in Russia and Europe, implications for U.S. national security. This is the report that we are releasing today. It's about 200 pages.
The Republican chairman of the committee, Senator Bob Corker, did not sign on to this report, but the report is actually built off of ideas that have garnered a lot of GOP support on the Hill. This includes tough Russia sanctions and trying to implement those sanctions to squeeze the Russian government to stop them from trying to do these destabilizing activities across the world. One of the key things that you can kind of look at with this report is that while it was not signed on to by the Republican chairman, there are ideas in here that do have some bipartisan support. The main finding out of this report is more that the United States needs to look at some of the lessons learned that happened in European elections, particularly in France and Germany recently, and try to take some of those ideas to help safeguard our elections in 2018. This report kind of serves as a warning, saying that what we saw in 2016 is not an isolated incident. It's part of a years-long global strategy, and that we need to be looking forward and saying what we need to be doing differently in 2018 to safeguard our election against outside influence and foreign meddling.
Never before has a U.S. president so clearly ignored such a grave threat and a growing threat to U.S. national security.
This is the first time that a congressional report has come out that addresses Russian election interference broadly since we saw the 2016 election, what we saw in this 2016 election. One of the main things that we're going to be looking forward to now is what does the Senate Intelligence Committee and what do the House Intelligence Committees find in their examinations. This report was looking outward at what's going on globally to put this, the election interference in the broader context, but we do expect there to be much more detailed findings that dig into what happened here in the 2016 election and whether or not there was any collusion or coordination between Russian actors and the Trump campaign.